Sufferers only want to know
where the next food coming from.
This one for all them racists. This one for the racists. Anytime you bounce up a racist and you hear them running them out, it have a whole set of people don't care what they talking about. A racist is someone living happy and all their family doing well. So race talk is really not for people in the ghetto catching hell. Now tell the racists, sufferers don't care about color. Sufferers don't care about race. Sufferers don't care who migrate from where or who living in who place. Sufferers don't care who from country. Sufferers.
Forged in the heat of battle. The power, the passion, the danger. Her courage will change the world. Cried out for a hero. She was Xena, a mighty princess forged in the heat of battle. The power, the passion, her courage will change the world.
So I listened to Lakrambudu in the parliament speaking about no disaster while the nurses in this country protesting. When last Lakrambudu listened to his ministers and they're talking about no disaster? Did you listen to Khadija Amin as it relates to the Point Fortin Borough celebrations and funding for local government in the parliament? No disaster? Did you listen to your minister Sean Sobers as it relates to the CARICOM fiasco and you talking about no disaster? When last you listen to your Minister of Education in this country while teachers protesting and you talking about no disaster? When last you listen to your Minister of Defense, Wayne Sturge? No disaster? Well, when last you listen to Roger Alexander on crime in this country and you talking about no disaster? Listen, when last you listen to your Minister of Housing in this country, no disaster? Did you listen to Barry Padarak as it relates to WASA and the TSTT fiasco in Tobago, and you talking about no disaster? The biggest disaster in this country is those that sits in the Prime Minister office together with the Prime Minister. You're talking about disaster? The biggest disaster in this country is the people electing the United National Congress as the government of Trinidad and Tobago. That is the biggest disaster in this country. So you go ahead, Lakramburu, and mamaga yourself and fool yourself, but no disaster in this country. I gone.
Finally, I want to say to all of you, we have to send a message. We have to let them know that we are just as important as everybody else. And we're not asking for nothing that we don't deserve. We're asking for what we deserve. And at some point, you have to stand up and make people pay attention. And today, they will pay attention.
It's not very hot, but we are here standing in defense of you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
So I saw this post on Facebook. It was posted by some Amaziah Thomas, and it reads, "Is to fire all of them nurses that stay home and hire new ones that looking for a job. Plenty people out here will be so glad with $8,000 a month." Now the reason why they cannot do that is, well, of course, they can't just fire you just so, right? There's the thing about having a permanent job now, boy. Can't just fire people just so. The industrial court would smile because you know them favor employees. Also, I've heard, right? So that's number one. Number two, you have to have certain criteria in order to be a nurse, because they have to register you as in a registered nurse, or they have to enroll you as an enrolled nursing assistant. And then there's some kind of vicarious law as well that governs the hire of nurses, as in any other profession, but especially in the nursing profession, you know? Right, there's some liability there, right? So they just can't hire any and everybody in that point. And the third point is, go and ask any student nurse.
Streets advocating for the, for what was owed to them, the hard-earned dollar. They still turn around. And all they want to say, these nurses and them heartless, and ask the Lord to cover the wards in their absence. And when I heard that, my paws raised Trinidad and Tobago. You know why my paws raised? You know when you're out there and you're robbing and you're looking for your money, you're looking for your dollar, you're looking for your bag, you ain't studying work. And when I heard the person on the mic ask them to bow their head and say a prayer to cover the patients that they left behind on the ward, until such time, until they return, I say, my God and my Redeemer. And let's say these nurses don't have a heart. What about all the time? All the time. We go to the hospital. No, it has some rugged nurses, it has some disrespectful nurses, and I'll get on the heavy just now. It has some disrespectful nurses. I don't know who's this brave person calling me at this hour. it have some disrespect for nurses, eh? I ain't saying no. But you see the ones that hard working, I salute to them. You know why? I work in a hospital. And the kind of work the nurses and doctors have to do, I tell you the honest truth, I can't do that, you know. When I see the kind of thing these people have to do, I ain't talking about business. I tell you, at the end of a shift, I just say, hey, all you real good, and may God bless all you and keep all you know. Because in my mind, after God, is the doctor and the nurses to save all your life. And to see today, this is the treatment the nurses and them had to get. You understand me? And when they're looking for the PSA rep, the people who they was paying their little $100 to over the years, you can't find the PSA rep, the person in charge of PSA, Miss Felicia, I think it's Felicia Thomas. You understand me? So, the mere fact all you can't find all your PSA rep, or the person, I should say, the person who used to lobby on behalf of the workers. Because what they're saying now is that PSA cannot negotiate for RHA workers, right? That is what they are saying. But I know in the past time when it was Watson Duke, I don't know what magic they used to do, and everybody used to get their little money, their little back pay, their little dust across the board. So I don't know how all of a sudden that is a problem, right? Nonetheless. Let me jump over to Heavy. So your girl get up this morning. After I done say my prayers, I'm going through my face, my TikTok, and I see Heavy jump up. I don't know if Mr. Jeffrey will put it up on the screen. Right? Mr. Heavy jump up and stating that all those nurses and them that were out there is PNM nurses. When I hear that, I ain't freezing, I froze, and I get a headache, I get mad one time. So you know, I go on and I make 2 blogs and show it out there. Because you can't tell me the election, one of the manifestos in the election is that vote for the UNC and you go get your 10%. That was mentioned across the board by Felicia. I was in Grandy in the Northeastern College auditorium when I heard Felicia give that speech. She was on the stage with the Prime Minister now. You understand? And all the other ministers and the dedicates, even everybody. And I and all jump up and I start to clap and I salute the woman. I say, yes, we're voting for the UNC. I and all help advocate. If you hear me talking, we have to give the UNC a chance because we go get we back pay and we go get we 10%. And all of a sudden now, ministry workers would have gotten their monies because I want to believe that ministry get their 20,000 for Christmas. Right? Ministry workers. And others get the 20,000. And they also would have gotten the raise of pay. So then the question is left to ask, what about the hospital workers? I don't know. Tell me. And Heavy have it to say that all the nurses and people that was marching out there, because I saw doctors, I saw nurses, I saw attendants, I saw wardsmen, I saw clerk, I see laundry people. Everybody came out unified, uniform, no bacchanal, no confusion. And they gave their little speech, they said their little prayers, and they moved forward. And the question was for that day, I think they wanted to know when they getting the raise in salary and the back pay because cost of living going up. And all they can't say, why we didn't come out and march 9 years ago. People did come out and march. Right? And Rowley said the most he could give was 4%. Right? Because of certain circumstances. And I want to believe the government, the UNC knew that. Oh, so, so somebody now say here, Sherilyn Henry says she's on the board. Okay. Well, I didn't see share, so I can't say. You understand me? But I find it real strange that where's Felicia? Felicia's supposed to come and stand up for the workers, because even on the group chat, that the PSA group chat, it's our people from Mount Up say they're on the group chat and they're messaging she, and she's not responding. The day of the march, the peaceful demonstration, the PSA office was locked. So what with that? All of a sudden, all they go on silent. And then Heavy have it to say that it's only PNM nurses, and that get me mad. Why must you say a thing like that, sir? Why? You singing for your supper. You understand me? These are hard-working people, people who work in the sun, the rain, night shift, day shift, double, triple, four shift, to make two ends meet, to see what themselves and their families are. And when you done now, you jumping out to discredit the people, to make the rest of Trinidad and Tobago, to make it seem that it's only them, all them, this is PNM people, so is the PNM push them to come out there? No, darling. The PNM push nobody to come out there. This is not about PNM, this is not about UNC. This is about the people who work for the honest dollar. And the UNC promised that they're going to give them the money. If all they can't give them the money, meet with them now. Meet with them. Come up with some kind of arrangement and say, well, here what's going on. We can't give all this, but we could give all this. And all they can't get it at this time, but all they could get it at that time. Come up with some kind of suitable arrangement. But instead of that, Heavy jump out himself to come and talk a pack of rubbish and talking about PNM nurses. This is not about PNM, this is about people's livelihood. This is about people hard-earned dollar, people exchanging labor for money, people that have family to take care of. This is not about you, Heavy. You singing for your supper, and I don't like that. If I had a shred of likeness for you, that is a day. How dare you say that? It's all you will come is the UNC will come and promise the people them the 10%. And the back pay. So what happened now? What is the difference when we was campaigning to now? And it's because all they knew for a fact, it really probably didn't have no money to pay the workers. All they knew for a fact that it didn't have no money to pay the workers. That's what I had to say. Or probably all they must know it didn't have money to pay the workers, and then yet still all it must have had the money, and all they probably trying to make interest of it, and when all they ready later down in the year, all they go jump out, or close to the election, or they go the local, or close to the general, they go look to give you some money. But it is hard. It is hard. Cost of living going up. When last all they go in the grocery? When last all they go in the grocery? I want to know. Tell me when last all they go in the grocery? We had good night, Trinity. And Heavy coming out here to talk a pack of ass, this a pack of rubbish, and talking about them as PNM
nurses and their UNC nurses.
When Heavy gets sick,
I want to let them know that
when he go in the hospital again, like the
probably
last
90% of the nurses is PNM nurses.
I want when he go in the hospital, he must say, I don't want no PNM nurse about me. Give me a UNC nurse. But he must do that when he knocking on St. Peter Gate. I even want to use the word for them to flag the program. You must do that when you're between the realms. Life and bye-bye.
Yeah.
That's when you're supposed to do that.
You know what I want?
He's a very wicked person. He's a very unjust person. And then the Minister of Health, it's not the Minister of Health said that. Trinity, why is the Minister that turn and say that the nurses are lazy and greedy?
Them go be saying.
It's not the Minister, I think he's the something in Mount Hope.
Them go be saying.
He turn and say the nurses lazy and greedy. How the nurses can be lazy and greedy? For money all you promise them, all they listening to all yourself. If the people, remember his public servants were really geared that are pushing, we come out in the large numbers because of Felicia, because Felicia promised them they getting their 10%. And I wish Mr. Jeffrey could have find that video, the one when where they was in Sandy Grande when Felicia was talking. I wish he could get it and play it on the YouTube, or somehow go across on the YouTube and view it when she was advocating on behalf of the UNC, so that the people will know here what's going on. If all they vote for the UNC, or they will get 10%, and that is how people switch. I and all help people convince the people to go vote for the UNC, and now look at what happening today. So you cannot vex with the people to come out there. If somebody owing you heavy, ain't you going and find out about your money? Because you are to live, you have a family to take care of too. So why the nurses can't do that? Why the attendants can't do that? Why the doctors cannot come out and ask questions? Why the wards maid? Why the PCAs? Why the clerks? Why the people cannot come out and ask? And they notice the people and come out there, they impelled no big stone. They had it had no obscene language, it had no alcohol. These people and them trot in the sun. I and all two are trot in the sun with them until I started to get sunburned. I started to get tired and dizzy, but I said no, I have to stand up and give them the support. And they were happy to see me. You understand me? And you coming up to say, oh, it's PNM nurses. It had nothing like PNM and UNC. This is hard-working people who work hard, who still work. I can't be hard. Well, heavy here, what's going on? If it's PNM and there's UNC, why UN take up the position as a nurse and go on the ward and clean all them patients and them and administer medication to the patients? You know how hard it is? When doctors on call and there's no sleep, whole night they in the theater, nurses can't sleep because patient bawling. Or you have a sore foot to clean. You understand? Or you have a sore foot to clean with maggots dropping out tight. Or heavy, you could do that. Or as attendant, you have the patient delirious, they're getting on bad, and you had to go and try to restrain that patient, and they're getting kicked all in your chest, patient spitting on you, cussing you. You could deal with that heavy. Who in the kitchen does feel the heat so heavy, you should hush your mouth. You singing for your supper heavy, and that is wrong what you're doing to black people. That is wrong, but not even the black people, to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the nurses, the doctors, the wards maids, the attendants. All category of staff, you should have never come out there. You should have said, here we're going on. You could have said, here we're going on. Let me talk to see if I could talk to them, the MP, the Minister of Health, and whoever, and say, here we're going on. Instead of we come out and bash them, let me try to come up with an answer, a solution. Let me lobby with them. You know how that make the government look by you coming out there and making that speech, Mr. Heavy T? You know how that make you look? Like a house Negro. And I said that with no apologies. It make you look like a real house Negro. You singing for your supper. So it's only you alone. How much money you get? Message me in the comment section, people. Tell me how much money all you feel heavy get for making that video. I want to know. Because it's human beings you're dealing with, you know. People had children, people had a family to take care of their children to send to school. Single parents, a single mother, single fathers. To take care of the family, and you jumping up because you so want to look, you know, you want to look outstanding. And like if you still a blogger, those nurses is PNM nurses. Imagine that. They were PNM before. And they were convinced by Felicia and myself and others to give the UNC a chance because we go get with 10%. So you see that statement you make there? God will punish you. God is going to punish you. You know why God go and punish you? Because you're looking for fame and fortune. All they tell me in the comment section, how much, if all they saw the video, how much money? Mr. Jeffrey, I don't know if you could put up the video, what Heavy make this morning. And all they go across on YouTube and see if all they could see the video. And tell me what all they think about that video. Lover, if you want to come up, you go let me know, right? Because I see you send an invite, so I don't know. Right? Tell me how much money in the comment section, how much money all they feel Heavy T get to make that video saying that all these thousands of people that was out there dressed in the lovely blue having a peaceful demonstration.
Princess.
That turn and say that it's PNM. Tell me how much money all they feel Heavy get for them. Tell me. Some people could just be so wicked and self-opinionated and selfish.
Are they hearing me?
So then we're trying to tell me. We don't know our promises are comfort to a fool. So when the woman sing the song African for Sale, them is the two songs, African for Sale and the other song, what Hale and Francis sing, it coincided, and you notice them is the two songs they try to ban. They pull long Hale and on, they mute him mic, and they threaten Queen Victoria to sue her. Because them two songs hit a nerve. Imagine that. Imagine that. Them two songs hit a nerve. And all they want to vex. All they want to vex when people come out to ask about the money. All they ain't telling them nothing. They ain't seeing Mazer Felicia. They're not seeing Felicia. So who to ask? Who? Trinidad and Tobago? Who to ask? Who to ask?
Well, you hearing me now? You
You can't come and ask me. Pleasant good night, Trinity, Mr. Michael Chatter, and look, I have the man himself, Mr. Oral Saunders. Pleasant good night, sir.
A pleasant
Good night,
everybody.
good night, everybody.
How are you?
Mr. Oral,
Yes.
pleasant good night.
How are you, my sister? Good night to everyone tuned in. It has been a long time in the making, but thank God because of technology, timing, and the message, we have made it possible tonight. God's blessings on you, my sister.
Right. So tonight I was talking, I don't know if Ole was hearing me. I don't know if Ole was hearing me. See how the devil is a liar? Right.
Warrior, are you hearing me? I think I get in trouble with my audio. Oh, okay, cool.
Ole, when I was talking a while ago, you guys, just hold on, Trinity. You guys were hearing me?
Yeah, we are saying everything.
Right,
Love,
now-
I want to come up. Love, I in the
I was
queue.
in your bed. Yeah.
All right, just now, I can't bring up everybody at one time. But here we're going on Trinity, Mr. Michael and Chat. I want Ole to give Mr. Oral a little chance, right? Let Mr. Oral explain something because I tried to get him, I think was Friday, but we was having some challenges. So Mr. Oral, enlighten the public. Now we have almost 84 people on the chat right now, and we have hundreds of people on the outside looking in on YouTube and on TikTok. So
Yes.
Mr. Heavy would have said all the nurses that was there on Friday, right? Doctors, lawyers, remember the lawyers, doctors, nurses, attendants, wardsmaid, PCA, clerks, everybody there was PNM people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, firstly, come on, sister, let me say a pleasant good night to each and everyone tuned in. And I would just like to state for the record that it is really unfortunate and it's really sad when bread and butter issues that affects the average man. And when I say the average man, of course, you know, I mean the average citizen in a negative way. We turn it into a janjat or lackery when these are issues that impacts the livelihoods of everyone. And it's not just poor people, because there's a perception that public hospitals and public health care is for poor people. I want to dispel that, respectfully so, because God forbid tonight, the richest man in this country, God forbid, if he gets into an RTA, a road traffic accident, and the EHS is summoned to the scene, the EHS is mandated to drop that individual to the closest medical facility, accident and emergency department. So in other words, what I'm saying is that what takes place at a hospital impacts every single citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. So we need to understand that. So when I hear persons, no matter how motivated they may be, because some persons are motivated by money, comrade sister, and some people are motivated by their love for their political party. And you know what I would like to say to the national community tonight? Those persons who would have taken to Facebook to try to paint my colleagues and myself, nursing personnel, healthcare workers, in a negative light, they simply do not understand that this is this government's opportunity to rectify a perennial problem that has plagued the health service from successive governments. In other words, I am not saying tonight that our problems are of recent vintage. I'm not saying that at all. I'm simply saying that, and I'm borrowing this phrase from a friend of mine who is a UNC supporter, a hardcore UNC supporter. And what he said is that successive governments have kicked the can of healthcare delivery down the road. Everybody kicking the can down the road. But we have reached a point of being down the road. So today, the can has reached down the road. And this government, which comprises of some serious persons who came from the labor fraternity, and I'm talking about the Honorable Minister of Labor, Mr. Leroy Batiste. I'm talking about the Honorable Minister Keyser from the OWTU, and he's a junior energy minister. And of course, my good comrade, Clyde Elder. So I'm talking about those are just persons who you would have known that were actively involved in trade unionism up until they were successfully elected into office. So if this government, which is elected by the people, the majority of people, they said they would have gotten the majority vote, and the statistics are there to support such. I am simply saying, comrade sister, that this government is in the best position to address these concerns. And these concerns are attainable. These concerns were also promised, as I heard you saying, they were promised leading up into the election. And I know for a fact that thousands of RHA workers would have voted in favor of this government after being encouraged by our leader of the PSA, Miss Felicia Thomas, to vote, so that this government has an opportunity. And instead of attacking, and I'm not saying the government is attacking, but I'm saying certain persons on Facebook, instead of attacking nursing personnel who are highlighting the problems that are existing in the health system, what they should do is to encourage our government and the respective ministers to meet with nursing personnel and the PSA and whoever is representing the TTNNA, meet with these persons and come up with tangible solutions. We are not political. We are not interested in getting into the red and the yellow and the blue. That is not healthcare workers' objectives. As you would know, comrade sister, because I know you would have sacrificed your life and limb for this country during COVID-19 from 2019 straight to 2021, where the majority of persons who are making those negative statements, they were home in the safety of their homes, in the safety, in the comfort of their homes, while all of us, no matter what part of the healthcare service you work in, because persons need to understand that no one in the healthcare system is more important than the other. We are simply a chain. And all of us, the attendant, the wardsmaid, the nurse, the doctor, the pharmacist, you name it, we are simply links to that chain. And what happens when a link is broken? You can't wear the chain again. So what we are trying to do is to avoid having that chain broken, comrade sister, so that we could have that chain functioning. Because once that chain is functioning in the way it is supposed to, John Public benefits. John Public comes into a health institution, there's a proper wheelchair. People greet you. People have the right attitude. Instead of people being disgruntled, the first person you meet, whether it is an attendant or a clerk, that person is on a 2013 salary. That person is probably working without ink in the toner. They can't do photocopies. Something is not working. Something, the air conditioning where they are is not functioning. They have a fan that's blowing all the paper. They have to put something on it. And it's a litany of woes. Nursing personnel complaining of medication. And I'm talking about simple equipment. That if it is, we have a more collaborative approach to this thing, we could solve the situation and get healthcare in the place where it is supposed to be.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying, Ole. Meet with the PSA rep. Meet with Mr. Edie Stewart.
Edie
Meet with the
Stewart,
people.
yes.
Meet with them. You understand, man? But instead of that, the minister held to long and said what that nothing is wrong with the healthcare.
Well, what he said is that there was no crisis.
No
Now, that
crisis.
could be very subjective, eh? Because probably
Yes.
from his perspective, he is seeing that the system is still being held up. And we want the Honorable Minister to understand that it is not the intention of healthcare workers to crash the system. That is why it is still being held up. Because
Exactly.
contrary to what many persons think, this is not just about money. This is more about respect.
Thank
This is
you.
about equality of treatment. You
Because
have
Mr. Oral,
persons, yes,
Mr. Oral, if all the nurses, trust me, if all the nurses decided to come out and don't do, then they will have a crisis. So the fact
well,
that
this
he
is
would have said that,
correct.
is because here we're going on. That's to show all the nursing staff, or they still have a heart. Because I show
Correct.
what I saw there on Friday. That is not all. Trust me, that ain't
No,
all.
no, definitely
Okay.
not. And I could assure the national community via your platform, Comrade Sister, because I know for a fact that there are government representatives listening to your program. And I want them to understand that it was never our intention to stop or shut down the entire system. What we simply did was to try to be strategic from the perspective of making sure that there still is some element of care. Despite us being as serious as we are, as focused as we are, as committed and as dedicated as we are as nursing personnel, we still must maintain that humanity, that empathy, because we as citizens also use public health facilities. Our relatives also use the public health facilities. And you know, the
Exactly.
irony of all of this, Comrade Sister, the irony of this, because sometimes I go through Facebook and I am looking at the statements persons are making, and I look at these persons, and the majority of the persons making those sad, reckless statements that are in some terms, some people may say unforgivable statements. Those persons, if they get ill, is the same public hospital they're going to use. They can't afford a St. Clair stay. They cannot go to Gulfview nursing home. They are not like the government ministers who could easily fly out. They could go to Cuba, they could go to Miami to get treatment. They have to rely on the public systems, the public hospital systems. So therefore, trying to belittle the persons who would have risked their lives during COVID. And that was the point I was going to make. So I just got sidetracked. Persons have to understand that all healthcare workers not only risk their lives in coming to work while you were at home safely, they actually risk their families' lives. Because, Comrade
As
Sister
well.
Candice, when you left work, you have to go home with your kids.
But I got COVID on the job and I bring it home to my family.
That is the point I'm making. And these are the persons who have the worst to say about all of our healthcare workers who would have sacrificed their lives and their family lives. And this is totally unnecessary. We are not in a war. It's peace we want, But sometimes the persons who cry out, it is easy to attack the persons who cry out because you think they are political, you think they are trying to disrupt services, you think they're anti-government. This has absolutely nothing to do with the above. We are simply saying that we believe, based on the promises that were made, we need to be treated in a particular way, and we believe that the time is now. It is of roughly a year that we'll be soon celebrating the new government's ascension to the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And we are simply saying that we are not unreasonable persons. We would have sat quietly and observed our colleagues and comrades in the civil service receive, some of them 20,000, some of them 15,000, some of them 10,000 for the Christmas. And we are happy for them. We are not here to begrudge them. the efforts of
No.
the PSA, we are thankful for Ms. Thomas and her executive team for being able to make that breakthrough of the 10% with the CPO, and the civil servants would have gotten that. RHA workers, we didn't get that, although traditionally, since the inception of the RHAs, and I am happy to say that I am one of those original RHA workers that came across from the ministry into the RHA system. So there is very little that would have happened in the RHA system since its inception that I am not accurate with. I know the RHA system inside out, and I can say that successive governments have always treated with RHA workers with some form of parity. So whatever was negotiated with the PSC and the civil and the CPO that was given to the public servants, we eventually got it within a month or 2, 3 months for the most. We went down this road with Mr. Watson Duke. We went down this road with Jennifer Baptiste Primus. We would have all received our increases in salaries. Hence the reason why we could say we are on 2013 salaries. And there are certain persons who are politically minded. Let me just set the record straight. The last time we would have gotten a salary increase was for the collective period 2011 to 2013, which was done by the PSA. And in doing that, what transpired is that the government was still voted, the then government still was voted out of office in 2015. So the UNC, led by, well, it wasn't the UNC, it was the People's Partnership Government that was led by the Honorable Prime Minister, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar. They did negotiate for us to get that 14%, to their credit. However, as I said before, they ran out of time for them to implement it. So it was up to the incoming government, which was led by the then Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley. His government was charged with the responsibility of implementing that payment, effecting that payment, and they said that they didn't have the money. So what they did was to give us the increase, and then they subsequently made the back pay in 2 tranches. Hence the reason why we are on a 2013 salary. So now, as I said, we would have seen our counterparts in the Central Public Service gotten their advance of 2015 and 10,000 for Christmas. We did not protest, we did not fight, we spoke about it, but we did not protest because we believe we would have gotten it too. So we did not get it. Then we would have been patient, comrade sister, and looked on as our counterparts in the civil service got their new 10%. 2019 salaries at the end of January. Credit to this government, they would have implemented that. So we know as RHA workers who would have sacrificed so much, we are on the sidelines and seeing this train just going forward while cost of living continues to rise, while people's frustration, people's disposable income is diminished because everything is going up. You have to pay more for your children to go to school in terms of taxi fare. You have to pay more for utilities. And we are suffering. We are actually working paycheck to paycheck. And in many instances, many RHA workers are living in deficit, meaning to say that their basic expenditure supersedes their income. And it is not because of riotous living. It's simply paying bills. You feel like you're a hamster in a cage and you're spinning on the same spot. And you can't even afford, let me tell you something, which is a joke. You know, long time, you could have just go KFC because you feel to eat at KFC. Public officers and RHA workers per se, let me leave public officers. RHA workers, we can't even afford that in many instances right now because of your salary being on a 2013 level. You simply can't even afford to say that you want to carry your children and your family to Tobago. You can't even say you want to go somewhere that, you know, just a normal dinner. You just have to pass straight and try to cook home. All these sort of things.
In other words, the way we live in now, we just have to buy the needs, the extra needs, and forget the wants, postpone the wants.
Well, not only that, you know, comrade sister, but what I would like the supporters of the government to understand is that your RHA workers, your healthcare workers, cannot even afford an unexpected expense at any time in their life right now. I meaning to say something go wrong with your car because you're driving from home to work. You can't even afford for something to go wrong because you don't even have the money to
To
pay
fix it.
the mechanic, to buy the part. You have to park up your car. You understand? It is that bad. You can't even afford for your fridge, your stove,
You
something to
take
go
it
wrong.
my mom.
Because if that happens, you're thrown off because you just
Yeah.
don't know where to pull from. Because what people are doing is that this month you could pay rent. Next month you could tell your landlord, I don't have the whole thing because the month before you had to take away from the tea and tech bill. So you had to pay the full tea and tech bill this month. So you had to pull something from the landlord bill. And that is how we have been living. And I am not saying it is the fault of the United National Congress government. I'm not saying that. We are not saying that. We are simply saying that even if in the interim, while Ms. Thomas and the CPO works out the situation in terms of how they are going to do this back pay, the very least that should happen, and it should happen even before the anniversary, the first year anniversary of this brand new government, is to at least implement the salary increase. I don't think RHA workers are unreasonable persons to say they wouldn't accept that. But the idea is we want the public system to return to some form of normalcy. We want to ensure that this pool system that exists, that Mr. Gopi Singh would have said is so corrupt, we want to destroy that altogether because we are saying we too are dissatisfied with that pool system and we want to be treated equitably like even our daily paid workers who we are in charge of, our daily paid comrades. You can't tell them that if it is they're working on a public holiday that they're going to get the same pay like if they're working Monday to Friday. You can't tell them that you'll give them a day sometime down the road, not even when they want it to know, but when it is feasible for the nursing administration to give you that day off, they will not accept that. But that is the system that exists for your nursing personnel. And we are saying, look, today I just coincidentally, I passed through I wouldn't name the hospital, but I passed through one of our major hospitals. And there weren't enough attendance at the time. And the attendants, then I spoke to them, they were saying to me, so and they could come up with an auxiliary, and this is what we were discussing, an auxiliary attendance grouping, that if it is they run short, they could call out people at short notice because they would have already trained them and say, hey, come and do a day work with us now. And there are so many unemployed persons who would jump at an opportunity just to come and work in the hospital with us. So I am saying that sitting down with the management, sitting down with the government, we could come up with solutions, but we must have the will to do it as opposed to going in attack mode. There is no need for us to be attacking one another because we are not in war. We are all citizens.
Exactly.
We are all Trinbagonians trying to live the best life possible. We don't want to live lavishly. We just want to be comfortable that we could take care of our families and come to work with a right frame of mind. Instead of, because I'll tell you, working in a psychiatric hospital, I learned so much and work so much with persons who are affected mentally. When persons are stressed out because they can't pay their bills, you expect them to be smiling and be happy when they come to work? I mean, yes, the work requires you to be friendly, but your mind stressed out. You're studying what your children going and eat because you just couldn't afford a full grocery this month. You just couldn't afford it.
Mentally
So
and
what they're going to
physically
eat?
stressed out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it weighs down. And remember, the majority of my colleagues who are in the nursing profession are mothers. How does a mother feel knowing that you're not sure about how you're going to pay for your car payment, how you're going to pay the rent, what you will have to do in order to get money because your debt service ratio, as we call it DSR in persons who are familiar with credit systems, your DSR is so high because you're owing the bank, you're owing the credit union, you're owing courts, you're owing your neighbor, you're owing your mother, you're owing your godfather. It's every single person who you could borrow $1 from, you would have approached over the years. So we are basically saying that it is only so much more we could do. We have reached to the point that we can't take anymore. You would have stretched the elastic in your budgetary allocation, your monthly salary, to its maximum, that it doesn't have any more, the elasticity has
Yeah.
gone. It can't hold up again. It's just falling off your waist now. You can't do it anymore. You have reached your limit. And that is the message I would like to send out there. We are not in war with our government. We are not in war
Exactly.
with the management of any RHA, although we are displeased with some of the sentiments of Mr. Gopi Singh. But we are not in any war with anyone. We are simply saying, let us sit down, let us work out our problems, and let's bring back the health system to some form of normalcy. Is that reasonable, Comrade Sister?
It's very reasonable. That is why I got angry when I heard Heavy make that video. I said, but this man wicked. You're trying to put politics in the nurses and then peaceful demonstration. So I had what's to fix it.
Or race. We reject that. We reject that. We reject that. Because when persons come through our hospital doors, there's no, as I said, no blue, red, yellow, green nurses. We are just health workers. You meet an attendant, they have a wheelchair to assist you, you need help, you need information. And you know what people need to remember? People need to remember when sick people come into a hospital, or even a concerned relative or friend comes into the hospital, they are coming so mentally, perplexed. Their mind's already heavy because they're studying. I hope my relative doing well. I hoping they get better. I hoping they can get out of hospital. And you come to engage with a healthcare professional. You want to know that that healthcare professional is paid properly. You want to know that that healthcare professional is using the best equipment to save life, to nurture life. That is what you expect, not knowing that the person who you're dealing with, that nurse didn't get a chance to go on vacation for 2019, 2020, and 2021 because it was a health crisis, a worldwide pandemic, and all of the nursing personnel were debarred from proceeding on leave. You know what it is you can't even go on your vacation, while persons who were home with their family on vacation and getting pay are now critiquing you and saying the worst of things, talking about race, talking about politics, talking about all sorts of things, other than the fact of, let us treat our healthcare professionals professionally. Let us treat them with respect so that they in turn must give respect to the national community when they come into the hospitals. That is what we want, a better society. That is what many persons voted for. And I am saying, without fear of contradiction, we are not at war with anyone. We are simply trying to get our just due, and not only for our nurses, but even for our doctors, our attendants, our wards maids, or our pharmacists. These are human beings, these are citizens who believe, all categories of staff. So it's not just us alone we're fighting for. We're fighting for everybody, tooth bagay, as they say.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question, Mr. Oral. After the peaceful demonstration you all had on Friday, did the Minister of Health or anybody at all reach out to Mr. Edie or you to arrange
I really cannot speak on behalf of Mr. Edie Stewart. He can speak out for himself, but I am not advised that it was so. I stand corrected. The only statement we would have heard is what happened in Parliament between Mr. Former Minister, Finance Minister Colin Imbert and the Honorable Minister of Health. And that to us, was uncalled for from the perspective that we on serious issues. We don't want to get involved in the tit for tat politics. That's not our business. We are not impressed by that at all. We just would like our Honorable Minister, and in collaboration with his government and the Prime Minister, to sit or send their representatives to talk with us and let us, even if it is, I am even suggesting, even if it is at this impasse, at this stage, if it is for us to bring in someone of the stature of Michael Anisette from Natuk, to bring him in as a mediator, if it is persons are uncomfortable with speaking to other persons. Because somebody may have a problem with me. Felicia might have, Miss Thomas may have a problem speaking with me. And I recognize that this problem is bigger than me. So I have no problem with speaking to someone else to speak to her. And likewise, if it is the National Trade Union Center, which is their job and their duty to really treat with workers' issues, if they want to be the mediator in this, or if it is they can, we are willing to speak to anyone. As I said, we want peace. We would like to see peace in the health system, and we would like to have certain issues definitely dealt with so that this government could actually boast and brag that they were able to succeed where others have failed, and they would have been in a position to right the wrongs of successive governments by them finally taking the bull by the horn, as they say, and treating and dealing with that issue.
Right. Well, I'm so glad that I was able to get you on here tonight, because a lot of people was asking so many questions, right?
Yes.
And I promised them, I said I would try my best and see if I get Mr. Ora, because I don't have Mr. Ed's number. I would like to have his number to bring him on here, because my program has only lasted an hour and a half. But the way how a lot of people want to see something here, I may have to go until probably 10, if 10-ish, right? But Mr. Ora, I am so happy to have you here. I don't want you to be a stranger, because it doesn't end. I don't want you to be a stranger. You understand? Because I told Mr.
Come on, sister.
I'm going to bring you, right?
Come on, sister. I am humbled. I am very much humbled and appreciative of the opportunity to speak to you on your platform, to talk to your followers, and I know so many persons follow you and they take note of what you are saying. What I can do, give you the assurance that I will try to send a message to Mr. Stewart, Comrade Edie Stewart, for him to be able to contact you. So, because I'm sure he may have a different perspective, or maybe it may be a similar perspective that I am presenting, he being the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Nurses Association. And I guess even if it is, Comrade Sister, you could even try to get Miss Thomas, because you want to be balanced. So it'd be good to bring in all the big players to speak to you.
Mr. Ora,
yes, to try.
Mr. Ora, I tried that, I tried that. I asked somebody who would have given me her number in earlier times to ask her questions.
Yes.
And then and I misplaced the number that I called. I asked the person to call her and ask her if she would come on the program and speak with me, and he got no answer.
Well, as I said, I can't speak on behalf of Ms. Thomas, PSA president, but these are the programs that they should take full advantage of, to use as a medium to get the message out and to talk to their followers and their members and the national community. I dare say the national community, and even the persons who are pro-government supporters, they could understand where, see it from another point of view, where persons are coming from. So, as I said, we are not in a war with anyone. We don't want it to come across that we are in a war at any moment in time. We are quite prepared as nursing personnel.
This is not about...
Correct. It's about peace and building bridges. This is about building bridges.
Yes.
That's what we would like to do. And at any moment notice, even if it is, I were to get a call as soon as I come off your program from someone that the Prime Minister would have sent, Oral Saunders, listen, I heard the program last night with you and the Comrade Sister, and we want to talk to you all. We want to try to get to understand the issues better. We didn't look at it from that perspective that you presented, and we are prepared to hear you. I am prepared to just run in the shower, change my clothes, and go right now. It is that serious to us.
Yeah. Exactly.
Candice, good
Yes,
evening.
Miss Pleasant.
I just want to tell
evening.
Mr. Saunders good evening.
Good evening, Comrade Sister. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Well, hanging in there.
Very good.
It's good to hear your voice.
Same here.
Miss, can I ask you a question? Hello?
Are you speaking to me, Comrade Sister?
Yes, I'm
Mr.
talking.
Oral, I have Trinity here with me, and I also have Michael. So they would like to ask you a few questions.
Sure, no problem. Right? Sure. I hope I can answer. Go right ahead.
Did one of my friends to come up on the panel, spoke up. She's a nurse, but she said I thought she signed a form of confidentiality, and she don't want to speak on it to get in trouble. And I can totally understand that. But
Yes.
what I'm trying to ask is, what do you have any comments on what Mr. Tim Gopi Singh said about the nurses when he called them lazy and they don't deserve anything, and Jesus Christ healed the sick for free, and the nurses should be doing that for free? Do you have any comment on that?
Well, I would simply say that do you know what we're trying to do, as I said before, is to try to build bridges. You know, we should focus where healthcare is concerned. My advice to Mr. Gopi Singh, I would have worked with Mr. Gopi Singh in his first incarnation when he was under the Basdio Pandey administration, and he was the chairman of the NWRHA. You see how far I carrying you back now, eh? I carrying you back way back into 2000, there about 20, you know, 2019, that sort of time. So 2000, sorry,
I know
2009,
when I'm saying
2000, yeah,
2009.
yes, sorry, I need to go back further, yeah.
2009.
That's it. In fact, 1999, 2000, 2001, that time. So you know, I think that Mr. Gopi Singh is a very experienced person, and we have to remember that words either help build or words sometimes help to tear down. So we just need to be a little bit more mindful and a little bit more sensitive in what we see, especially when we are placed in positions of authority where your words mean so much. We must try to build and uplift. It doesn't mean to say that if there is a problem, we can't speak about it. But we could say this very same thing differently and get a different result. My mother always taught me growing up, oral is not what you say, but is how you say it. Could make the world of difference.
Okay, and what about these new nurses that they hire, and these nurses from India that they bring to work over here? What do you think about that?
Well, I don't have any information. I don't want to make a pronouncement without the facts before me. I think something like that might be greater suited to probably Ms. Thomas of the PSA or Mr. Edie Stewart. I think they may be in a better position to pronounce on that. So I wouldn't want to venture and speak on it without the facts before me, because I am not aware that there are foreign nurses as yet or in the system like that. We know that there are one or two Cubans and so forth, but that is a government policy, and I don't want to, you know, speak on it as yet without information, factual information, if you don't mind.
Okay, I totally understand, but the way how the nurses are being treated, what the government and people like Heavy and them is not understanding is that we could go in a new pandemic tomorrow, God forbid.
Correct.
You understand?
Correct.
And the same nurses and doctors and the same healthcare workers that you're bashing is the same healthcare workers that you will need to come out to the hospitals to work every day to take care of the people who get affected in the pandemic. So these people need to think ahead of time, because they never know what could happen. If you understand what I'm saying?
Of
Right?
course, I understand
Because
what you're saying.
them unfairly, and they're speaking on things that they do not know about these nurses, because these nurses and them just work very hard. Right? My friend
They
is a
do.
nurse and she just works very hard. She'd be very tired. You understand?
Yes, and
So for
we
them
have
to
acute
speak on it,
shortages of staff. We have very much acute shortages. I didn't even get a chance to get into that because that may be too much. I don't want to overwhelm the listenership, but I want persons to have an understanding of the life of a nurse. Someone leaving secondary school and choosing a career of nursing, because nursing is something that is choose you, eh? You think sometimes you choose it, but sometimes you just know the good nurses because the career is actually choose you. And it's really challenging for someone to study for between 3 to 5 years to receive a qualification to become a nurse. And then at the end of training, those persons are placed on a 1 year or 6 months or maybe a 2 year contract. And that has been going on as a perennial problem. Many of those nurses that you speak with when you go into the hospital, they aren't permanently employed. They are contract nurses. And that in itself is problematic. Because if it is, right, and I don't want to compare, but the comparisons are there. If it is, someone would have wanted, like a male, a young man just leaving home, leaving school at probably 17, 18 years old, probably did his A-levels, and he's looking for a job, can't get a job he wants, so he decides to go into the services. If it is he wanted to go into the police service, if he wanted to go into prisons, if he wanted to go in fire, within a few months, he will be in full uniform, receiving a full salary, you know. But when it comes to nursing, because it is such a life and death decision-making profession, he has to train for 3 to 5 years to take up that post. And very few men do it, because to sacrifice your life for 5 years without a salary, without a steady income, to join a profession that at the end of, or the successful completion of it, you're ending up with a 1 year contract. It doesn't augur well for the society. And as I said, I'm not blaming this government. This is something that has been going on for a very, very long time, and it has to be addressed. So this is what I'm saying. Persons like Heavy should be looking at this scenario that is taking place differently. You know, the Chinese have a symbol, as the same symbol that they have as adversity, as in difficulties. It is the very same symbol that they use for opportunity. In other words, instead of looking at the glass as half empty, you could look at the glass as half full, and we could work together to come to a amicable resolution where everybody benefits and everybody wins and everybody feels relatively satisfied. That is really what should be the aim and the objective of leadership.
All right, so
But
Trinity,
Mr.
let me allow
Saunders,
I wanted to allow Ms. Sharon to engage with Mr.
yeah.
Horn. Go ahead, Ms. Sharon.
Mr. Saunders, you know where I
Yes, come on,
sit and
sister.
you know where I come from. You know where I sit and where
Yes,
I
my
come
sister.
from.
Yes, my
And
sister.
I'm listening tonight, and I'm totally happy for you being on the platform to explain a number of things. But you know, I had to take it to task a little bit.
No problem,
I
come on,
find you
sister. No
trying to
problem.
be too diplomatic with the chairman of the NWRHA or whoever, Mr.
No,
Tim
it's the
Gopisi. And I will tell you why.
NCRHA. NCRHA.
NCRHA, sorry. And I will tell you why I'm saying this to you.
Yes.
This particular gentleman came from in this same arm of the same very medical services. So he knows
Yes.
very well what the nurses go through on a daily basis. He was a doctor, a
Yes.
consultant. He knows
Yes.
exactly. But I want to tell you something this evening. We have to learn to call a spade and a hatchet, because the narrative is being spoken. This is not a today thing. When we were in COVID, this very said Prime Minister and others said a number of things about the nurses, about the doctors, about parishram, and a whole lot of things were said. And here we have the same said narrative being spoken and pushed here by your very said Mr. Tim Gopisi. And the narrative is being carried on by Heavy and Day. That is the narrative is being fed to them to continue. It is unfortunate and it is disappointed for me and this
Yes. Distasteful.
and pain the nurses in a political scenario under these circumstances, whether it's whatever government. You cannot have 10 children living in a house and give one child the best meal and leave the other 9 without food to eat. That is not good governance. So I find listening to you, and I find you taking
Yes.
a high and low road, and you know me, you know I'm going to tell you how I
Yes.
feel.
Well,
Because
come on,
it's
sister,
either
let me
you're
say
in
it.
it for the betterment of the cause, or you're in it for something else.
Well,
And so I
come on, sister, let
understand.
me
I'm
tell you
happy to
something.
hear you. I'm happy to hear
Yes.
the discourse, but we have to call a spade a spade.
Well, no, well, comrade sister, let me just respond to you, right? And I appreciate you. I listen to you a lot. I appreciate you, and I could agree to disagree with you, but I just wanted to understand the position that I find myself in. I am speaking on behalf
Yeah.
of several persons in the nursing fraternity because we have a group of persons that try not to be um, red circled into any section or any side because I am not the president of PSC. I am not the president of the TTNNE. I am just I am a member of the PSC. Our section at St. Anne's Hospital hasn't had a PSC election, but I am still in the trade unionist mode from the perspective of trying to solve a situation. So inflaming it or responding to it in a similar form and fashion that the persons who we critique will not solve this problem as far as I'm concerned. So I have to use language that represents all the persons who are for the government, the persons who are against the government, the persons who do not care about either political party. All I am trying to do, comrade sister, is to rise above the politics because that is where my position is. If it is you speak to Ms. Thomas or Mr. Edie Stewart, they may be able to delve into the political aspect of a conversation. But where I stand and sit, comrade sister, it is about building bridges and trying to solve the problem, and inflaming it at this stage, for me, could just cause more problems than solutions. That's the only thing I would want to add to it. But I respect your position, comrade sister, and I know where you stand.
I will take this. I will take this and understand it. So I will do the part that you would not do. We will have to do the part that you. And as always,
Thank you, comrade sister.
Get mixed up in this. So we will do the part that you cannot do. So understood.
Yes, because
but
I'll be constrained. I'll be constrained. I love lash. I call that a love alpha.
Yeah,
I love
but you know it's only love. But I just
I wanted to hit him a little lash too, but I said I will leave him alone because I wanted to hit him a little lash from his stomach too because
Trinity. Hello.
No,
you and Sharon is not going to bullrag Mr. Oral Saunders. We now have him on the show.
Don't do that.
No. I know you and I know Sharon.
Candice, Mr. Oral Saunders and I go
way back.
I know.
I would, but we had to Mr. Saunders.
Mr. Saunders, no, I wouldn't hit him so hard. We go way back.
Right.
That love is there forever. That love is there forever.
I want to preserve Mr. Oral Saunders, right? And I support his stance on where he talk about being neutral. Right? We're all about peace, we're not about war, because war don't solve nothing. You understand me?
Yeah.
So we're going to lead a little pecan after Mr. Oral Saunders make his exit, and we will deal with Heavy and them after. But Mr. Oral Saunders, sorry, I am happy that you joined me tonight, and I know we will talk you out. We
Princess, hold on.
Even wanted to talk.
Princess, I want to tell Mr. Saunders something. Mr. Saunders.
Sure,
You're going back?
Yes.
Mr. Saunders, for the past, Lord, let me see, 34. For the past 4 years,
you need to have 6 months. I have to be a little
every 6 months, I have been putting in applications to get a job in the Ministry of Health as a PCA, right? I have my PCA certificate. I have my pediatric level 1 and 2 certificate. And I have been putting in applications San Fernando General Hospital HR. And I come to realize that the Ministry of Health is picking and choosing. It come like a who know you and who you know, because if you're qualified to do the work, why does they can't hire you? I find it kind of unfair because it has looked like they're hiring people who don't want to do the work, because I'm just telling you, there are some attendants that doesn't want to get up. And people like me who actually want the work, not getting it. And I find that it's kind of unfair.
Yes. I could certainly empathize with you, comrade sister, because I know what you would have shared with us tonight is a microcosm of the wider society. There are thousands of persons who are currently unemployed, and even if they are employed, their dream is to work in the health sector. And these are the people with the passion, because to work in a health, especially a public health system, is not an easy thing. It's a very stressful job. And as you could tell, you're underpaid. Sometimes you're undervalued. You're unappreciated. But what you could use your platform to do is to reach out to the Honorable Minister of Health and maybe the various CEOs of the different RHAs for them to put in probably a more transparent, maybe, I don't know, a more transparent system to revamp the system so that they could do a review of the persons who they have on file. And as I was sharing with you all a while ago, I don't know if you heard the idea, but maybe the time has come for us to have an auxiliary employment pool, so to speak, where if it is that maybe a public holiday coming up and you're expecting that it would hardly have persons or maybe persons out on vacation, we should have a pool of persons that we bring in and we train you all. And although you're not permanently employed immediately, what we could do is that wherever there's a shortfall on short notice, we could call in persons so they could come into the hospitals and do the work so that the service delivery does not get affected. So in other words, when John Public comes in, they don't see the place dirty because we always have persons there doing that. They always have standby attendants, wards maids, drivers, all the persons who PCAs, as you indicated, persons who could make a big difference if it is we have that auxiliary system, because I think the fire services has it. So if they have that system, it is something that maybe the RHAs you using your platform could make that suggestion to them so that they could call in persons, and whenever a vacancy arises, you could now pick persons from that pool of persons because you would have already seen them work. They have already been trained. They're already accurate with the health system. They know the doctors. They understand how to function. They know the layout of the hospitals. So it will be an easier transition of getting those persons from being unemployed or just doing sessions and bringing them into the permanent stream. So you could, so sometimes when we're talking about the problem, we have to always put forward a solution, a suggestion. It doesn't say they will take it, but at least they will say it's a damn good idea.
All right. So, Ms. Felix, you have any more questions for Mr. Oral Saunders? Sharon?
You're welcome.
Can you mute your mic? Right. All right. Chata, do you have any questions for Mr. Oral Saunders before he goes? Because we have him here quite a while, and this invitation just kind of sprang on him. Nobody else? But Mr. Saunders, Mr. Michael, do you have any questions for Mr. Oral Saunders here tonight? So nobody's answering. Okay.
We probably lost them.
Well, Mr. Oral Saunders, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the program in such short notice. I really do appreciate what you being here with us tonight and clearing up some stuff for us, because a lot of people have been asking me certain questions about the nursing staff and about the protests, and I really didn't know much about it. I was there, I interviewed one or two people, and they had a lot to say, and while I was out there, I saw hardworking, people that, that they deserve the just dues, understand? And it is right about now, it's really, for me, it's well hard. It is very hard, and I know it's hard for a lot of people, but we just hanging in there, and I really do hope that the Minister of Health and the others will reach out and have a little sit down and come up with some kind of solution. You understand? I hope they do that before the year, right?
Thank you. Yes, my sister. Before the year comes and
right?
Yes.
So,
as I said, my sister, I appreciate the invitation. I know it was short notice, late notice, but I'm really hoping that I would have been able to provide some information and to shed some light on some gray areas. I know persons may have wanted me to go a little bit further, but they have to understand the constraints in terms of where we want to go. And my role as a senior health worker in Trinidad and Tobago is to really try to mend fences and to build bridges, because I have seen what could happen if we are not there. And that could cause a lot of problems, which is unnecessary. You know, I understand that the country is in some financial strains, but I believe there are ways we could work around it. As I said, we could find some middle ground. And I think the
Yeah.
average RHA worker would be happy to know if it is at least they get the percentage increase in the interim while Ms. Thomas and the CPO works out the rest of stuff, and that the government considers a overtime system as opposed to the pool system. And we look at the training of our young people, because there are so many persons who may want to become employed in the health sector, but it doesn't make sense we train them simply for foreign countries to just come and woo them away because of poor working conditions. It doesn't make sense. You're spending millions of your dollars, taxpayers' dollars, to train your best citizens just for them to leave. So I hope that
Yeah.
the powers that be would
And we
accept
clearly
our
see that is
suggestions. Yes, that they would
we
accept
clearly see
our
that is
suggestions tonight. Yeah, and in accepting our suggestions, that there will be an attempt for us to, really mediate and get over this hurdle so that we could all move forward and, bring back the public healthcare system to some form of normalcy. So thanks again, Ms. Edwards. It has been a pleasure being on your program, talking to your team. A pleasant good night to your team. And most importantly, a pleasant good night to all your viewers and listeners, especially all of my RHA comrades and colleagues who may have tuned in or will tune in the future to see the program, to replay the program. Thank you so kindly.
I did not take the shirt
and in,
because I
and in,
don't
and
want
in
to see what's
future
free.
and in future I will notify you like I do also before. Okay, sir?
All right. Yes, my sister. Okay then. Thank
All
you so
right.
kindly.
Have a pleasant
All right then.
right.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah. So let me allow Mr. Michael. Mr. Michael, you have been here a while. Mr. Michael. Somebody's mic. Let me mute this person mic. I don't understand this people. People ask to come up and they're not right. So Sharon? Sharon? All right.
And that's such a noise. I hear plenty noise. Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's the permission.
All right here.
So how does it?
Let me go inside from the noise.
First, I hear you say, darling, who's your darling?
Right, you hearing me, Candice?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
You're on your hood, no?
Mr.
Oh
Michael
Lord,
is
I
saying
ain't
something.
good. This internet doing my. Oh gosh. Hey, look, my darling. Deep South. Deep South, my love.
So you ain't here talking to
Yeah,
your
no, I
dad?
didn't hear what you said.
You didn't hear us coming tonight?
No, my internet, the phone, the thing for me is.
Sharon?
What you
Sharon?
say, Michael? Yes?
Sharon, are
Oh,
you
you
hearing
hear
me?
me?
Sharon? Sharon, are you hearing me?
Yes, I am hearing you.
Right.
Yes,
So here I
Candice.
wanted to do.
I'm hearing. Yeah.
Right. I wanted to move away from the backing. We hearing your pumpek and them girls.
That you have you were calling you?
Right.
Sharon? I
She
hear
muted
you
the mic, so I believe she
You know, I
She
wanted
muted
to
the
say
mic, so I-
something. I wanted to say something about
Nobody
Warrior. I
can-
said that you don't say nothing bad, so I'm trying to behave.
Right.
Yes,
Right, you
please.
hearing me now?
So,
Girl,
yes, loud and clear.
Dinah the pump called it the warrior outside the wind hush. Listen to me now. Sometimes, you just want to come on these live and say some kind of thing, but sometimes I tell myself to hush. I will get myself in trouble. You see these set of house Negroes that we have in this place? You see these people and them? Something is seriously wrong with these people, For 30 pieces of silver, they are prepared to sell their soul to the devil very, very easy and quick, All of a sudden,
Yeah.
the same nurses that save your life, The same nurses, and you want to call them PNM, the same blood you have in your vein. You ain't even know where it come from. And the same nurses that save your life. Today you could sit down in front of a mic and say all these kind of things about these same nurses. You was working by a particular place. You wasn't getting pay. You know you leave the work. You walk out and leave it because you wanted your pay. You wanted your pay. So nobody else don't want their pay. Only you alone want your pay. Only you alone want your pay. So you could sit down in front of a mic and abuse the worst of the things about the same people that we have to go and face if something go wrong with us in this country. Something wrong with us, you know. But the narrative is what they're giving all it to preach.
And not only that, the same people will save his life. You understand?
Yeah.
He had the gall to come out and bash them and say all kind of thing about them. But if you know that,
But
get me so mad, eh?
I hope he don't have to go back in front of none of them. I hope that he don't ever have to go back in front of none of them news, because all of them, as he says, PNM, I hope he don't have to go back in front of them. Why we want everything is to play in politics?
What he should do, Sharon, is when he give... Trinity, hold on. Trinity, hold on. Trinity, hold on, please. Right. What he should do is when the next time he ends up in a situation, he ends up in the hospital, he must ask the nurse or the doctor that is coming to attend to him if there's a PNM or a UNC first. You understand?
Good one.
Good one. He should do.
He shouldn't even ask that. I find when he shouldn't even ask that. I find when he gets sick, he should go private. Spend your money. The money that the UNC is paying you to bash the nurses and doctors and talk all that nonsense, use that same money and go private and get your treatment. Don't come in the public hospitals where the same nurses that you're bashing to take care of you. You go public because you haven't the money. I don't have the money to go public. I had to depend on the nurses to take care of me.
Trinity, let me tell you this, and let me say this tonight, and let me say this to you, Candice. You on the government station. You are not on a political platform. The government station is for you to push what the government is doing, but apparently you come to push a political agenda. You're not government station, and I saying tonight, Mikey K, Michael Kern, chairman of TTT, that Talk City fall under. It's time for you to fire heavy because you just show your petticoat. When I went over on Talk City, I was to twist my tongue and be very, very polite and professional and deal with the government issues. You see that the difference with, anyhow, I was trying not to make things political, but it's in my blood. That's the difference. You're going over on the government station and you're pushing the UNC agenda. You're in the wrong place. No wonder why the certain chairman of a certain place had to say, all you only talking that rubbish. When the day come, the same thing over and over, and he fed up all you. Damn nonsense all they're carrying on with.
Well, it's only a matter of time for them, because I heard the same talk too. You understand? But here they said, I wanna give Mr. Michael a chance to say something. Right, Mr. Michael, let me hear your contribution tonight about you don't really have to talk anything about on the nurses, but tonight I wanted to bring up Mr. Oral just to shed some light on the march that we had on Friday, right? So we don't have to dwell on that too much because I will bring him back again. But I want to hear your contribution on Mr. Heavy about the video he made. I think it was yesterday or today, about all the people that were in the peaceful demonstration are PNM. What do you think about that, Mr. Michael?
That is the most stupid accusation that's Heavy. But all you know, Heavy is play educated by very illiterate, very, very illiterate. Because all the programs that he used to carry when he was working on that particular radio station, you're supposed to know Heavy is illiterate. You understand? But that guy should remember where he come from, you know. It's only certain people can really remember that. When he wanted blood to survive, why he didn't pick and choose the blood that he was getting? And say PNN blood or UNC blood?
Mr. Michael, hold on a bit. Mr. Michael, hold on. Persons who are not talking, can you mute your mic? We are hearing our feedback in the background. Right. Go ahead, Mr. Michael.
I heard Sharon say calling on Mikey K to fire heavy. That wouldn't happen, Sharon, because all of them cut from the same bolt of cloth. You understand? That wouldn't happen. Mikey K, Andy Williams, and that dotish illiterate next one, he just play very educated. Lennox Smith, all of them cut from the same bowl of cloth. You understand? This UNC could do what? They're going to support the UNC. They could say what? They're going to support the UNC because they're getting paid for that. Expect no difference from them. Okay, so I will hold it up there and give somebody the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Michael. Chatter, you have anything to say, sir?
Hey, good night.
Chatter.
Good night. You hear me?
Good night. Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear. Yes, I'm hearing you, Chatter.
That video with Heavy this evening, right? And he was saying that how if the nurses and them is working for 2013 salary, right? Where they get the money to print shirts and to rent a music truck to hold the protest. And if the nurses suffering, so where they get the money to do that? You understand? That what he said. He said the nurses, but basically and shit, that what the man said. That what the man said.
Hello, Trinity, hold up, Sharon, hold up a bit, darling. I know your blood boiling. Trinity, I know your blood boiling. Let Chatter finish say what he has to say. Let him finish make his contribution. Go ahead, Chatter.
And it's just like what Mr. Michael now say, when he was in the other radio station and he wasn't satisfied with his salary and he leave. So the nurses and them don't have no right to protest and come out to state that how they want to raise a salary what the government promised to them. And this government make a lot of promises to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and they hasn't fulfilled none. And I back the nurses 1,000%. Because just like what you say, Miss Warrior, the jobs the nurses and them doing is not an easy job. And not everybody have that stomach to do that job. You understand? And right now things are very high. Costs of living to send your children to school. Yeah, it have nurses renting, it have nurses who pay back for vehicles. You understand? And for this dirty mouth man to come out and sing for his supper and say that how the nurses and them they're complaining and saying that how they don't have no money but they can print shirt and rent truck to hold a protest. You understand? Right.
Yeah.
When I hear that today, I shake my head. I shake. That just to show you how the UNC have these people and them like puppets. You understand? And this next one was saying the same thing. NCW was saying the same thing. He's saying that how. Yeah. So like UNC paying them or promising them something for them to come out to bash the nurses. So the people that NCW made the nurses and them greedy and the nurses and them just wanna come.
Yeah, but as Mr. Oral would have said before he left, we are not trying to war the government, we just trying
to spreading their propaganda.
We just yes. And you see that making them look even more bad. They're looking worse now because remember they are the ones that promise the 10%, you know. Felicia is the one that
is what they work for.
Exactly. Felicia is the one that told the nurses and them.
No, but I hear Heavy. I hear Heavy saying that how the nurses and them never protest under the PNM, right? But is the UNC government will come out and promise the 10%? Yes, I don't know, but this internet.
Yes, they came out and promised 10%. And then Felicia is the one that I was there till I hear the woman talk. She said that in order to get the 10%, you have to vote the UNC. And we all ran with that. I am an advocate too. You had to support the UNC. So everybody, like the UNC sang the song, Felicia translated, I myself translated it my own way, and everybody come aboard. And the ship started to sail. And somewhere along the way, everything started to shake, and then the ship started to sink.
But one
You
thing I
understand,
want to
man?
say, one thing I want to say,
Mhm.
in Heavy life, I don't know how old he is, right? He never went in
Mhm.
the hospital for treatment. He never went to the Port of Spain or the General Hospital for treatment. He never went there, right? And all his life, right? And God should forbid, right? If this should happen, if he had children,
Okay, Margaret.
and God should forbid if this should happen, if he had children, he shouldn't take them to the Port of Spain Hospital. He should say, well, I'll take them St. Clair or West Shore, one of those hospitals, and them.
West Shore, yeah.
Thing I
Yeah.
say. Are you saying I say you should go private?
Huh?
All right. So let me chatter is 9:27. So let me give Mr. Megatron a chance to say something, because I don't want to be inconsiderate with Mr. Jeffrey's time. Right? He gave me a time 9:30, and I want to respect that. We have tomorrow and we have other days. Fair enough, guys? I know Mr. Oral will come up, and I wanted to give Mr. Oral a chance to explain himself and elaborate on certain things, right? So bear with us, right? And Mr. Megatron, you can give your contribution.
Hi, good night, everybody on the panel. Good night, Warrior Princess. Good night, TikTok, the wider community and the universe. Good night, everybody.
And YouTube, don't forget YouTube, because
On
this
YouTube,
program is on YouTube.
everybody on YouTube and all good night, all who locked on, all who subscribe, all good night. So last night, Heavy Duty, let me jump straight into it. So last night, Heavy Duty was when King Wallace live last night and was trying to explain to who slow and don't know about what's happening. He was on King Wallace's live trying to explain last night what he said in his video and what's transpiring in the country with the nurses, right? So he gave a big long speech and said this about that, and they don't have money and they're trying to get back the petrol train in order and they're trying to get back certain things in order. So for now, all they're working on is making deals and trying to better Trinidad and Tobago so that money could be dispersed and everybody could live once more. My big issue I have with Heavy Duty is, and as I was saying it in front of everybody, is he don't know the real problems in the healthcare system like anybody else here. I had a son, I had to take my son to the hospital. It cost me approximately 15 hours to stay in the hospital with my son for a simple little asthma attack that it flared up, but it didn't flare up as much. I have an issue where the nurses and them deserve to protest because they're working under very poor conditions. If anybody really paying attention, some of these people and them being threatened or being overworked or being overlooked at when it comes into things like the overtime, the promotion, amongst other things. The government come out and roll out a 10% in the back pay and telling them that they could get some money, but the rest they will have to get in bonds. So I don't know where they stand with that. I don't know how that's going to work. The big problem I had last night when Heavy was talking was Heavy tried to explain to the nation, on by extension everybody on the live, that Kamala doing she best right now to stabilize the country in a way that so everybody could be okay. That's why she disbanded CPEP, because CPEP had a $400 million a year shortfall where contractors had people employed in ghost gangs and whatnot and whatnot. So I don't know where to start from with what is going on in the country, but I find it's about right that people deserve the back pay because they work for that. People deserve the overtime because they work for that. So
Mr. Megatron, let me just interject here. So why it is Heavy had to be the one to come out, and if that is truth, why it is Heavy the one had to come out and say that? Why our Prime Minister, we elect and put in power to handle the affairs in our country, why she didn't come out and tell that to be why Heavy had to be the translator?
Well, truth be
Candice, because he was sent for that reason. He was sent for that reason, Candice. And let me tell you something. Listen, Mr. Megatron, you're raising all my nerves. You're raising my nerves tonight. Because you know why? Heavy is one man. And I'm saying it tonight, and he could take me to task. Heavy is one man, mustn't talk nothing about ghosts and nothing about corruption. Heavy is one man, mustn't do that. And tell him he could challenge me anytime. Because from where I was and where he was, tell him don't do that. When a man could be getting us money in your bank account and you know you're not working in a particular place and you're accepting it, what you call that? What you call that?
Go.
Tell me.
Prosper.
Thank you. So don't talk about no ghost about nobody and tape me tonight, play it back and answer me back. Because all you're getting me real upset. You want to call ghosts? And I challenging anybody, heavy anybody. Prove to this country, Trinidad and Tobago, prove to this country that it had ghosts in CPEP. Prove to this country. Bring the information. All you say that? Bring the information and put it on the public table. Let me go through it and see it. Bring it. And you see the same, all of them, they talk the narrative, they come in. Always ghosts in URP and always ghosts. You heavy can't talk about that. You heavy can't challenge me on that. Because you know I go bring it and drop it on you. You can't talk about that. When you could tell me when about a man who was getting paid and was not in the people and them job because he was off the payroll, but by mistake, monies was going into a bank account. When you could tell me what you think about that and what you thought about it, we go talk. But you see tonight, I tell all you, don't choke the jep if all you want the jep to bite all you.
All right,
And this
Sharon,
nonsense going on too long. I gone with that.
All right, Sharon. I'm looking forward to see you back here tomorrow night with me, darling. All right, so Mr. Megatron, let me give you a little chance because it's 9:33 and we have to be mindful of Mr. Walker's rights.
Yeah,
so let us
I just want to close. I just want to say a few things. I find when he bring across that message last night, it sounds as though like the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know if he have a relationship or a close relationship with the Prime Minister. The way he talk, to me it seems like he rolling out plans with the government before the government could even roll out plans. Because when he talk about the corruption within CPEP and how much ghost gangs and how much money has been spending each year, and that's why that said disband it. He said they're trying to open back some of that program, but for now, people have to hold on and wait. I don't know how long people could wait because by the time people waiting, a lot of people lives mashing up, people can't mind their families, things can happen. So I don't know what's going on, but the way he speak last night, because I go to ask him a question last night, but I still am going to listen because he talk on some topics and issues that have current affairs within the country within right now. But the Prime Minister is a real person right now who, assuming office, supposed to be bringing all them things to the forefront. And I don't know why she not.
And I find so, and I am not hearing her.
I am disappointed.
She's supposed to be addressing the
Warrior Princess, I am disappointed in this current government because it is physical conservatism that is going on in this country here right now. And this is a eater food, better friend. I know this one, know that one, who could help one, who helping who. And why is they politically aligning their pockets with the monies that are allocated for certain things to run the country? We as the citizens right now on a standstill, we are on a standpoint. We don't know what's happening. I don't know how to address it, and it's frustrating to know.
Well, let me just say something now.
Go ahead.
The government telling the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, hold on, right? But Barry Pattara could find $250,000 to hold a retreat, right, for his friends and family, but they're telling.
All right, so Chatter might kind of internet game problems. You might kind of start.
He could find that much, and they're telling the country.
Megatron, you would send me a number in the inbox, please.
So I just want to say this. I just want to say something about Patreon 2 and I have to go and chat my phone.
All right. You're on time, eh? You're not
My
time.
Patreon 2, I want to chat my phone, so I go and do this and then I coming off the live. You see this government? They're very incompetent. I have no faith in them. I can't wait for them to leave. But I will say this about the PSA president. Yes, Mr. World didn't want to talk about her, but I can't talk about you because what she could do, my too bad.
All right, so leave some of that, Trinity, listen to me. We're working with our time frame, right? And I do not want to be selfish. Can we leave some of that for tomorrow? We can't talk everything tonight, darling. Okay, honey?
All right.
Let me know if you're nice.
All right. Well, you all have a blessed night. I'm going to put my phone to charge.
Yes, and I love you. Okay, darling?
I love you too,
right, so,
Warrior.
Mr. Megatron, Right. So, Mr. Megatron, you will send me a number in inbox. So I will add you on my WhatsApp and we'll have a conversation. Mr. Chatter, I want to say thank you so much for coming on, right? And making your contribution. And we will have another chat tomorrow. Please, God. We have to leave something for tomorrow.
Warrior, don't forget to mention. Warrior, don't forget to mention the team. You're supposed to mention the team.
All right. Okay. That is private, right, darling? I love you.
Oh, you're not doing it on the live? I thought you were going to do it on the live.
No, baby. No, darling. Okay.
All right, then.
And
Well,
Mr. Michael.
But before I leave
And
from
Mr.
here,
Michael. Right. Go ahead.
before I leave from here, let me tell Heavy Duty. That amount of rent that you're owing where you living, you better start to pay your rent and don't claim the people's house. That is not your house. They rent it. Pay your rent.
Jesus.
Mr. Michael, heavy tea playing raw talk.
All right, so you guys, I want to say thank you very much, guys, for coming on. Mr. Megatron, Mr. Chatter, Trinity, Mr. Oral Saunders, Mr. Michael, Ms. Sharon Felix. And I saw Arita was trying to get in. I saw Mr. Barefoot was trying to get in. But let's see the situation here. And I really wanted to hear what Mr. Oral Saunders had to say. So don't shoot me down, right? I love all you. And you all can probably join me tomorrow night and I'll give you all a spot in the box, right? So I want to say pleasant good night to everybody here on YouTube and on TikTok. And a special thanks to Mr. Renison Jeffrey. And I must say thank you to my mom, Marge Ram. Thanks for coming on. To Lover and the whole crew, Mr. Smooth, everybody. Right? So the show has come to an end and I will see you guys here tomorrow, please, God. So they have a blessed night. Mr. Michael, I hope you will join me tomorrow again, right? Pleasant good night, everyone. You too, Chatter. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Bye.
Finally, I want to say to all of you, we have to send a message. We have to let them know that we are just as important as everybody else. And we're not asking for nothing that we don't deserve. We're asking for what we deserve. And at some point, you have to stand up and make people pay attention. And today, they will pay attention.
It's not very hot, but we are here standing in defense of you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Forged in the heat of battle. The power. The passion. The danger. Her courage will change the world.